All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of A-Town Talk.
The only.
Dude, you you jumped the gun on that one, bro.
A little early.
a little premature, dude.
It happens.
The #1 podcast in Anthony, Texas.
The only.
The only. There you go. Sorry, guys. Raleigh's really excited today.
I'm new.
So my co-host, Raleigh, we got Sal behind the scenes. You can't see him, but you can hear him.
Just breathing heavily.
Just breathing. Cool. And today we have two very special guests with us. You've probably seen these guys on social media all over the place. We got Christian Iglesias and Zach. Oh, man, I'm blanking your last name. Zuniga. Damn it. Sorry, dude.
No
Zach
worries.
Zuniga. Thank you guys for coming all over here to Anthony, Texas.
It's a fun drive.
Yeah.
How far was it for you guys?
Like 17 minutes from my house.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not bad.
that's not bad.
We're central, so it's about like 25. Yeah.
Well, at
That's
least
cool, though.
I-10 coming this way, there's not that much traffic, but leaving here, I recommend.
Yeah.
Go through Donovan.
Yeah,
don't
just
take
take Donovan,
Don't
that's
take
smart.
I-10.
At nighttime, you're fine to take I-10.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all.
Nah, I don't risk it, dude. I don't risk it.
Bro, you don't even drive 10 minutes to work, bro.
Whatever. Man. Whatever. Well, anyways, thank you guys for coming. It's really it's an honor to have you guys here. I'm a big fan. Christian, we've been talking.
Yeah,
we've been
man.
having this pod in the works for some time now.
Sorry about the schedule. It's been
No.
it's been packed, but I'm
He's a
happy
busy guy.
happy we can make it happen.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you guys for that invite, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. And Zach, it was a last minute invite, but I'm glad you're here, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to pick you guys' brains on some stuff. But I just want to get to know you guys a little bit for our audience, for the few that probably don't know who you guys are. Just give us a little bit about your backstory, where you guys from, and then we'll go from there.
Can we start off on how you guys know each other, how long you guys been friends and so
Yeah.
forth?
Yeah.
Sure. So I started a production company like 3 years ago in El Paso called Zazu Creatives. And I always saw Christian on everything, on FitFam, on, all the local pages. And I would just message him because I was a creator and I wanted to get closer to creators. And Christian was so cool. He would always respond to me. And I felt like, he was really inclusive and shared a lot of his knowledge with me. And we just started talking through Instagram. And then we ended up, when was the first time we actually worked together?
I have a terrible memory.
Yeah.
Was it for?
Was it De La Story?
I think it was for Della Story.
Yeah, we did some shared work with De La Story, and Christian was just super cool. And then we ended up just starting working on like some larger commercial projects. Now we're working on a documentary together. So we spend a lot of time together lately. Yeah.
And the documentary, what is that? What is that about? Can you guys talk about it or not yet?
We can generally talk about it. It's about the race for mayor in El Paso this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. Cool. And when did you guys start, doing camera, videography, photos, and all that stuff? How did that start for you guys?
Do you want to start? Yeah.
You go ahead.
Yeah. For me, it was I was a part of the school newspaper in high school. I went to Eastwood High, class of 17. That's where it started for me, like doing a lot of sports photography. And then I went to school for photojournalism at New Mexico State. And then slowly, as creative started morphing in the pandemic, you had to do a lot of different stuff to survive.
Yeah.
I went to videography and the drone and, little by little, making content here and there.
So the drone stuff, that's something that's been really like in the back of my head right now.
Yeah.
Because that's my next step. I want to start diving into that. How hard was it to start off doing drones?
It was not super hard. I think nowadays drones are super available to people. I think what's hard is making that transition from a recreational flyer to a commercial pilot. I think that's where it's a little tough because you need to get your Part 107 license. And a lot of people don't know. I think I'm super big on informing people about like drone safety and drone laws. Like technically you can't fly for a business until you're licensed.
Yeah.
And if you do it, it's like illegal and the FAA can like come after you and the business you're working with.
No shit.
But Yeah, that's a little tough. The Part 107 test is unnecessarily difficult.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you get like a certain amount of tries, or is it just like a one-time thing and then you gotta?
One-time thing, and then I think they pause you for 3 to 6 months, and you get to retake it. And if you fail the second time, I think it's a longer gap in between. 50-question test, 3 hours. When you book it through the FAA website, they give you a testing center. But the course material, it's like if you're training to be a pilot. Like it's a lot of weather patterns, like flight lingo. It's like airport
Learning about
traffic.
lift and drag.
Yeah,
and
man.
all that
It's stuff that like as a drone pilot you don't remotely think about.
But that's the drone itself is something that's picked up by like radioactivity, ain't it?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
as soon as you launch your drone, the FAA knows exactly who you are, where it is,
Yeah.
where you're flying. They know everything about it. So if you cross any boundaries or do anything, they can fine you
So,
a significant amount.
It's a newer thing with remote ID. It's a new thing that they're implementing on each new drone, and that's basically like the way it was told to me. It's like your license plate for the drone. Like when you drive, you have to register the vehicle. You have a license plate. If you're doing anything
Damn.
maliciously, they like your whole info is in that license plate. With remote identification, when you take off, I do know that in the airport. I don't know specifics, but I do know that there's a screen, and when you take off, and if you're doing something that you're not supposed to, they can click on like your dot, and it pops up with all your info.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
And even to the point, I believe it's latitude and longitude of your controller. So if it's dire, they can go and like confront you.
They got
for,
like
for your
snipers
flight.
waiting for you. Is there
yeah.
like red dots?
Well, if you're anywhere near the airport, one of my friends launched near the Subaru dealership on Airway, which is right next to the airport. It's no fly zone, and he launched his drone, and the FAA showed up in like 4 minutes to Subaru and was like, "What are you doing, man?"
That's crazy.
It's worse if you fly near the military base.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can
Yeah,
imagine
like the
that for
military
sure.
police will. I've had friends like they detain them, and then they make them go through their files, and they'll delete stuff. Like they'll make them delete the card. Like
Oh,
in
that,
front
that
of
makes
yeah.
sense because
Yeah.
secret shit.
Oh, for sure.
That is crazy. I didn't think it was that like intense.
It is nowadays.
It doesn't have to be, but I think again, like if you're flying correctly, and if like the hardest thing you'll do is that test, and then if you fly smart, like it's easy. But there's so many reckless drone flyers in town, man. It's tough, and I think the more of those that you have, the more difficult they're gonna make flying for people.
Is that for like people generally just like barely picking it up, or just like puras pendejadas mamadas that they're doing? You know?
I think yeah, it's
More of that.
More of that. I think it's like they know better. Like I've seen some stuff where, like you can't fly over a stadium. Like FAA, like you need an operations over people permit to technically fly over a crowd, or even to fly at night. And you have a lot of people that aren't registered, aren't licensed, that they're doing that stuff, and it's
I think it's just a lack of knowledge too, because when you take the Part 107, you learn all this stuff and you know what to do and what not to do. A lot of people just go buy a drone and they're like, "Oh, I can just fly," because it's pretty easy to fly one of these drones. Like they're like crash proof nowadays. They have all these sensors. They keep it stable and everything. But a lot of people just don't know. Like you can't fly over people. You can't fly at night. Like there's very strict rules on when and how you can fly. And it's just knowing those rules. That's why the Part 107 is actually a good thing. It helps you learn the ropes of like how to fly correctly.
yeah.
Is there something that like when you buy your drone, is there documentation saying like you need to get licensed, or how do they communicate that?
So that's actually, as a flyer, you have to do your due diligence when you research, because you can fly, like DJI is the biggest drone brand that they sell it on Best Buys. There's nothing in that paperwork telling you that you need to register your drone. But even as a recreational pilot, you have to pay $5 to have the drone registered, like period. That's before you fly.
Yeah, it's called a trust certificate.
Yeah, a trust certificate, yeah. And it's just $5, and I think it's like a 10-minute like mini course that they take you through for like common knowledge. But that's not advertised. So again, like it's not like that's information that's not like available to like everybody. That I think should be, because yeah, man. Like
If they're gonna be so strict on it, they should enforce it.
Yeah.
In a way, no.
Yeah, because what if you're like a dad buying your kid a drone for Christmas because he wants one? And
yeah. And you happen to live by the airport and you have no idea about
Yeah.
those rules,
Yeah.
like it's not right to them, so.
you get a freaking SWAT rated.
Custom issues.
Christmas is over. Holy shit, that's pretty crazy, man. Good to know. One of my buddies, he does drone work, and he's like, if you know how to play Call of Duty, you know how to fly a drone. I was like, well, we'll see.
There's a difference between flying a drone and flying, like watching Christian fly a drone. Like I own a drone, and the first time I saw him fly a drone made me realize I don't know how to fly a drone, because he knows every little technical aspect of the drone, and he can do so much more with it than the average person can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's easy to take off and fly forward and fly backwards, but to do these kind of complex movements while you're recording, and you know, it takes some skill, for sure.
How long have you been doing the drone work for now?
I started in 2019.
2018. Okay.
Yeah, so recreationally for 2 years, and then I got licensed around 2022.
During that 2-year period where you didn't have your license, did you get into any trouble or anything like that?
I one time I got the cops called on me. I was living out 2019 East Lake was very like, I think there was like a Sonic and like nothing else. So but there was like a lot of new housing. I was living out there, and I flew my drone, and then Horizon PD pulled up, and they're like, "We got a report of a peeping Tom." And I'm like, what? And it was me, and it was like my brother who I was living with at the time. And I like the cop, like he was super chill. I'm like, look, this is my flight path. I can show you what I was shooting. It was like a sunset. And he's like, oh, okay. And yeah, my neighbor like called the cops and said that like my drone was peeping through her window, which like logistically, like how does that even like work like with the drone? So I think they gave her like a verbal warning about like, because if you call the police and it's like you're not being truthful, they can report you for like waste of resource and time.
Yeah.
So they gave her that warning, and then the cop's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, you're good.
Okay.
That was, yeah, as a recreational flyer, that was the only time I got like any type of.
So we had something similar this past weekend. We went to go take pictures at the park. We hit the rec center, the one on
Franklin?
Yeah, by Franklin.
Wrestler, the Don Haskins.
Yeah, the Don Haskins.
Yeah.
We went to go do a photo shoot for a friend, and it was. I think it was our fault also, because we started, you know how they have that playground?
Yeah.
We got our cameras, and we used the tables that were there, and we were getting our cameras ready, and we're kind of like testing our stuff. Not thinking that we're next to a playground and there's parents with kids and stuff. And sure enough, right away they called the security, and they're like, we have some parents that are concerned because they want to make sure that you guys aren't recording the kids or anything. Like, oh, no, we're not. We just give off like that pedo face.
Oh my God.
You do for sure.
Dude, we're not.
I have a similar story about that. So I just wrapped up a contract with the city with their Parks and Rec department, and I did like beauty shots of their facilities, like with the rec centers, even the senior centers. I'd go in with the camera, with the drone, and it's summer, so they're like, "Oh, get the splash pad," and I'm like, "Okay, but you gotta give me like a badge or something, because like I'm gonna look like weird, man." Because yeah, splash pad with kids and me with the camera, like no, like I'm very self-aware. That's not a good look.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you talking about? It's fine." I'm like.
No,
No, it's not, man. It's not. Come on.
Not fine.
So they gave me a badge, and I took my niece. Like, I was like, "Oh, let's go to the splash pad and get some photos," because I'm like, "I'm not."
It's always a good idea to.
It's a weird look, man.
Yeah,
You know?
to kind of like let people know what you're doing when you go to a situation like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Technically, you're legally allowed to film anyone in public, right?
Yeah.
But like when it comes to kids and everything, you got to like let parents
Yeah.
know what you're doing.
And then they had somebody else was flying a drone around the park after that. And I was telling Sal, I'm like, dude, we better get out of here because they're going to think that we're freaking watching these kids or something. But that was something that we started talking about because we're pretty new to this, especially the photography thing. We're barely getting into it. And we're like, well, I'm pretty sure we can take pictures in public. But what are some, do's and don'ts for up-and-coming photographers? Like, if you're going to be out in public.
I think, I don't know. I feel, I know you know the laws better than I do, but I know like public space is basically free game, right? Like
Anything in public, there's no expectation of privacy, so you can film whatever. But I still don't do that. I always let people know, unless I'm doing like super candid photography of like people walking down the street, and that I'm kind of sneaky with. I don't let them see what I'm doing, and I don't do it with kids and stuff like that. But legally, you're allowed to film anyone in public, in a public space. But people will get mad at you, so like you got to just be ready for that.
I've done some street photography, and I guess my advice would be like, what's the word? Aware, like of who you're around, where you're at. Don't like go shoving a camera in someone's face.
Yeah.
People don't like
Read
that.
the
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, read the room.
yeah.
Some TMZ shit,
Like with De La Story, a lot of times what we're filming or when I worked with them is, we're going into businesses and people are eating and things like that. And people are like, what are you doing here? And we're like, we have to kind of explain to them. So I always I address it before I start recording always, because it makes more sense that way. And people feel a little more comfortable with you.
Definitely.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you started, Zach. You said you've been doing your production company for 4 years. Zazu?
Yeah, Zazu Creatives.
Is that, oh no, I was thinking of Zabu. That's that PBS show. But no, why Zazu? Where did that name come from?
It's the first 2 letters of my first name and the first 2 letters of my last name.
Oh, okay.
And it means movement in Hebrew, I think, or something like that, which was just, I learned that after the fact.
Yeah.
It was just a easy way to like start a company name. I was like, I want a 4-letter word that means nothing.
Okay.
Like Yahoo or Google or something like, well, those both actually mean something, but just kind of like something random, But I started doing photography. I actually started my photography journey when I was living in New York City. I lived in New York City for 8 years. I was practicing attorney up there. And my parents got me a camera one year, and I just would take it around the city and take all sorts of photos and stuff like that. And then I moved to Texas, back to El Paso, in 2018. And people would just ask me like, hey, can you do my engagement photos? Hey, can you do this or that? And I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a business with this. And so I started just doing photography. Then I got into videography. And then really what I got good at was finding the people that were better than me and using them as creatives and kind of doing the business end of things and like letting the creatives do their work better than I could for weddings or commercial shoots, things like that.
So like outsourcing and stuff?
Exactly, like contracting with people. And then I met the guys who founded De La Story. They were 2 offices down from me on Texas Street. I had opened a photo studio down there because I was doing a lot of like in-studio photography. And we hit it off and started making content for about a year solid. And then we just like kind of reached a creative, I guess, crux where we both were going different directions. And like I wanted to do longer format stuff. And they're focused on social media and like doing, their particular brand of content. And so we parted ways. We're still good friends with, I'm still good friends with all those guys. They're really great creative people, and they're painting El Paso in a really good light. So I really like that. But I like working with Christian. We're doing this documentary and it's completely different. Like it's long form storytelling, like we've been working on this for 3 months already.
3 months, yeah.
And we're going to be working on it till the end of November pretty much. So it's like, telling a story and like taking all this content, 100 hours of content, and trying to tell a story with it is different than telling a story in 45 seconds.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy because, you're doing a film, right?
Yeah.
How long do you guys trying to do this for, like a 2-hour film, or?
I think between 45 minutes and an hour and a half is our sweet spot, because like even in the longer format, people still have short attention spans.
Yeah.
So you have to keep people captivated, and like we have a lot of content, but like we have to whittle it down to like really tell a good story. Like we try to go for 2 hours. No one's going to sit through that,
Yeah, nobody watches our 2-hour podcast.
Unless there's something true. That's not true. Like this is entertaining, like you can sit there and put this on in the background and just let it flow, and like that kind of keeps you entertained. But yeah, it's hard to keep people captivated these days.
That's what social media does to people.
It does. Yeah, it teaches them that it's shorter.
Span.
Exactly.
And whose idea was it for the documentary, or how'd you guys come about it?
We actually had a client approach us and wanted to film it. So they approached us. We had been working with this client in a commercial aspect. Like we were doing different types of commercial work for them. And then they were like, we really want to film this mayoral race and capture certain aspects of it. And so we actually had to pitch them. They were interested in working with a out of city company in DC that was going to fly here like 5 times to help film the documentary. And we're a local company. Like we can be here all the time. And we pitched them, a appropriate amount for the documentary, and they agreed. And so we've been working on it since then.
That's pretty awesome.
July. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just you two?
Yeah, it's just us two. Yeah. I had worked on a documentary last fall for the Star in the Mountain. It's
really
for
good.
the El Paso Chamber, and I had again just hanging with Zach, and organically he had approached me about this project, and I had told him like, oh, coincidentally, I had just like I think I finished post production on that doc in February. The chamber has it; it's sitting. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but
It's really good.
it's a nice. I'm
15
proud of the work
minutes
we
and
did.
it's
Yeah.
15 perfect minutes, captivating. Like it's the perfect amount.
Yeah, just documenting the full renovation project of the Star. So I showed Zach, and he's like, "Have you done docs before?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like look at this." And organically, it just flowed really well. And then we went straight into filming. And I think the first day that we filmed, we both just like jived really well, and we found a good rhythm. And honestly, I think we've captured some really great stuff for this doc.
Have you guys had any like creative indifferences so far?
Not really. No. Not really. I think the good thing with both of us, I've worked with, and this is no hate, I think creatives naturally, their egos can be a little bit large just because they're very protective of their ideas. And we both have been around for a minute to know that like a sole person's idea shouldn't be the end all be all. So I like to flow, and I'm very open to ideas, and I don't take no's personally, and I don't take changes personally. And it's the exact same way. So that really makes especially with the doc, you have to be very fluid with how you work because things are ever changing. It just made the process very easy.
Appreciating what the other person brings to the table, and also understanding that you don't know everything, and being open to learn from someone else.
Yeah.
Like that's the attitude you got to go into it with, because like I don't know everything, so like Christian's taught me a ton filming this documentary, and maybe I've taught him some too. Like we just are open with the process. And then in our free time, like we spend every day together filming, and then we're like, after we're done filming the documentary, we're like, you want to go shoot this comet? You want to go shoot the moon?
Yeah.
So like we're both like in a very creative mode right now, so it helps the process a lot more.
Which makes me happy because I'm naturally, for my page, I'm creating content daily, and it's all stuff like it's the day of. Like I'll shoot something at like 6 and I'll post it like at 9. So when we're filming, and I'm from work to like more work, and I've been like dragging Zach with me because I think it's important for creatives to have that time where they can just create blindly, and like find that good niche, and like just find that good shot that you're like, oh fuck, like I wouldn't have done that if I wasn't out and about at this moment in time,
Yeah, I've been starting to explore that a lot more.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm pretty new to it. This past weekend, it was the first time where I have like some legit gigs. I went downtown to this event.
Chalk the block?
No, it was at the Amador.
Oh, okay.
Live, they had like amateur boxing. Like a fight
nice.
night thing. I got that through one of my friends who recommended me for the gig originally. He got hired for it. He couldn't do it. So he recommended me, and I was like, shit, I've never really done anything like this. But I'm like, fuck it, let's just go out there and do it. So, they just wanted like a 90-second reel for their story. Yeah. They wanted some pictures of the event to share. So it was pretty cool, man. And I got there. The guy in charge, he's all like, I'm going to give you full creative control. It's like, do whatever you want. And I was like, cool, because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
That's how we all start, though, honestly.
Yeah.
You just got to trust your own instinct,
Yeah, and it was cool knowing that I had that freedom, because I just roamed around. I took video, I took pictures, and then I came up and I delivered on everything. He really liked it, so I was like, cool.
Heck yeah.
And it gave me that confidence where like, okay, now I feel more comfortable. Because like on the technical side, I think I have the skills. Like I know how to edit now. I know how to use the camera more or less. But it was just that the
artistic side of it.
Yeah, like, and that initial fear, like, I'm pretty sure. Do you guys remember your first gigs or anything like that? How was that?
I was 14, and I shot a wedding with a friend. And it was a military wedding off of Hawkins. There's this ballroom by Moose's Draft House. And the groom was drunk. I remember like it was like a lot of like military dudes, and they're just like rowdy. And that was intimidating. And I remember that being my first gig, and that day I was like, I don't like weddings.
Yeah, dude.
Weddings are tough. They're tough. And like to
that's
this day,
a monster right there.
Yeah,
Dude.
like I've done weddings. I've done remote weddings, like in San Francisco and in Palm Springs, and they're cool. But it's just, I don't know.
Weddings are the hardest thing.
They are.
They're taxing.
They
14
are,
hours
yes.
of filming and photo. And
Especially if you got a gimbal and your arms are all like fried, at the end of the day. It's just, Yeah, I learned that day I don't like weddings, but that was my first official gig at 14. And
Dude, at 14, I was playing Xbox in my room.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was going to say.
Dude, you're playing with yourself.
Trying to keep it PG, Raleigh. Chill. What about you, Zach? What was
I
your
think-
first gig?
I can't remember like my first gig. Like my first gig was probably a photography gig of some kind, like engagement photos or something. But the first gig that I felt real was a wedding. And I was like, I had always said I'd never do a wedding because, like, if you mess up, like, that's someone's wedding. You know,
Yeah,
that's
it's a lot
super
of
important.
A lot of
responsibility.
pressure.
But it was just like what you were saying. It's like I walked into it like thinking like I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just did it. I knew that I knew the technical aspects of the camera, how to operate it. So it's like just do your thing, you know, and like have faith in yourself. And I ended up really liking it, and like it gave me confidence to go out there and do it again. I've done a million weddings now, and I agree with Christian. I do not like doing weddings, but they pay well. You know, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good jobs to have, but they're intimidating at first, you know, and like feeling like you're an imposter holding a camera. That's a hard thing, but this is a muscle you got to like flex daily. Like that's why we're going to create stuff outside of the time that we're actually like being paid to create, because like you got to keep that artistic reflex going constantly to keep it strong, you know?
Yeah.
and it's easier if you like what you're doing. And I think that's why it's important for me to constantly create, because you want to make sure that you're enjoying it. You know, it's still a passion of mine. I think the day that it stops being a passion, like, why am I doing this? You know?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I worked that day at my actual. I still have a 9 to 5, so I worked. I went in at 8, got off at 4:30, came home, grabbed my bag, I head out. I was in Cruces and I was there till 10. I was exhausted by the end of the day. Like my feet were killing me. Same thing. My arms were like
Yeah.
dead
Oh, yeah.
because I had the gimbal also.
Oh no.
Then I went to go have a beer with with Raleigh and some other homies, and I told him like, dude, like I'm fucking tired, but I love it.
Yeah.
Like it was.
It fuels you.
Yeah, and I was ready to edit the shit out of that video the next day, and
You were so happy that day.
yeah, it's cool, man.
It's cool when you get excited. Like last night, we were both taking pictures of the comment, and like as soon as the comment was gone, we were like, "Let's go edit now! Like,
Yeah.
let's go!" You know, like we had to get in the car because you get so excited about what you capture. You know,
Yeah, and it's fun because I mean we've been doing the podcast for some time now, but this is a very like controlled environment.
Yeah.
Everything here is set. Like we're like in our safe zone, so going out and getting out of like my bubble was a little scary, but it's cool, man. I want to keep doing more stuff like that, and even doing our little photo sessions that we've been doing. That's been pretty cool. For you guys, what was that step from going from like a part-time, like a hobby, to actually doing this for full-time? Do you both do this full-time, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
For me, I think it's always been a part of my full time, even when I was doing 9 to 5s. I guess I was doing corporate stuff for about 2 years on the media end, and it was very it was a controlled environment, and it was very boring. Like I think I had a hard time with it. The pay was good, but for me it was like, am I really proud of the work I'm putting out? You know, because it's like hierarchy of people that have to approve it and with their own taste, and it's a little old fashioned and it's not really fitting and it doesn't work, so they come down on you even though it's not your idea. It's like a lot of like the politics behind it that I got tired of.
Yeah.
And when I made that jump, and it was about like the beginning of it was the end of 2023, and same thing, like I was grinding it out, like I was unhappy, so I was motivated by the 5 to 10 p.m. instead of like the 9 to 5, you know? So like I was working for like the after work and like going to do shoots and going to and finding clients, you know, working weekends, and that fueled me. And I think it built up that confidence to be like, I can do this on my own completely fine. And yeah, like I mean, it's been really fulfilling. And like even like the financial like side of it, like I think I have enough name recognition and enough clientele under my belt to where I'm like really, really comfortable for like my age, and it's just it's a cool thing, you know. It's fulfilling.
That's good, man. Good to hear.
I would say mine was born out of necessity because I was practicing law in New York, and I came here. I didn't have a Texas law license, so I like had to figure out something to do, and it just was something I could do. I had a camera, I had some lenses. I was like, I could do this, and then I just started putting myself out there. Started asking everyone for Google reviews, asking everyone for Thumbtack reviews. Thumbtack is an app where people find creative people to do work, and I got really good at the business side of it, like dealing with clients and things, and people really liked working with me. So people kept coming back and back, and then they would introduce me to other bigger clients. And then I knew I wasn't the best creative, but I was like, I know the best creative. So like, I'll bring them in on this job and I'll price it appropriately so that I get a cut too.
Yeah.
And it became a business, it was really cool. And it's very fulfilling to do your own thing, and not have to do the 9 to 5. And now I don't know I could ever go back to like the 9 to 5 environment because I have so much control over my life right now,
I'm weird. I don't mind the 9 to 5 at all, but it's like I need to have that type of like pride in my work when I'm there.
That's a good point.
Like, not gonna lie, I miss when I used to work out of an office in the executive center, and there's the graphic designer in our team. He made like the best fucking pot of coffee. So like that's why like every morning I'd go in, and it was like if Carlos is making it, you're like, oh yeah, this is it. And
now you got to go get your own coffee.
yeah, dude, like bro, I gotta go to Starbucks today now. But I don't mind the simplistic lifestyle, but I will say it's fulfilling to all the hard work you're doing. It's for you, like it's not for someone else's pocket. I think that's something that I like right now.
So what's it like, man? Because you have a really big following right now on Instagram. You're up there. How many followers are you at Instagram?
I think I'm at 42K right now. I don't like to look at it.
42.7, I'm pretty sure.
And growing, because I see you, dude. Even like FitFam. Are you like homies with FitFam, or what's up with that? Like,
yeah. So it's funny. I'm very grateful to that guy.
So it's a guy. You know it's a guy.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
I can legit credit him for my first like 20K follows. So I think it was the fall of 2022. He approached me for a project, and this is like I was doing photos here and there. I didn't have the following I had now. It was just off of a whim. He approached me, and he's like, "Hey, I think it'd be really cool if we did video highlights for the different parts of El Paso. So Northeast, Downtown, Central, Segundo Barrio, Socorro, just like small video reels just highlighting these areas."
We need one of Anthony, by the way. Just saying.
I know, he didn't. I got to do one now. Man.
Yeah, A-Town.
That could be a cool one.
That can be.
Wet and Wild just framed in there.
It's just Wet and Wild.
Just Wet and Wild shots.
That's a 5-second video.
It's like all the slides.
Great American, La Tuna, and Wet and Wild.
Shit.
Oh, throwing Rolling Smoke in there too, though.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. And I think from that project, people resonated with it, and the following like blew up from that. And the cool thing is like he's never he's a homie, but if my shit's not good, I know he won't repost it, which I appreciate. Like,
so he keeps you humble.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does. And I've delivered some prints to him. He's been very supportive. But again, like the thing with his page that I appreciate now is that every week you see people taking photos of sunsets. Every week there's a new photographer he's highlighting. And that's cool because 2 years ago there wasn't any of that, And I feel like friends told me, they're like, bro, like, you're fucking annoying, like, with how much you post. But I'm like, then someone else needs to post too, man. Like, there's all this.
But that's how you grow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
like, that's how
true.
Consistency is where it's at. But it's cool to see that there's so many more photographers out there now, or just people with that eye for photography that can appreciate a nice sunset or appreciate a nice scenery shot, and no.
I'd say you probably inspired a lot of those people too, because they saw that what you could do when you create. You know what I mean? Like your photos and videos are like known on FitFam. You represent El Paso so well. So I think that a lot of people got inspired by that and probably like realized like I could be the next Christian Churches.
Well, the other thing is that you take pride in El Paso.
Yes,
and that's something that a lot of people don't. How many times do you hear like, oh, fucking El Paso sucks, can't wait to leave? Like everybody in high school, like they say, I want to leave.
Yeah.
Right. And you have that pride, which I admire and I respect. And even as far as like inspiring goes, like I try to take that same pride in A-Town and Anthony, dude, what we've been doing with the podcast here. So where did that pride come from? And then what made you fall in love with El Paso?
I think it's the journalism background that made me very aware of the city that we were living in. El Paso is such a unique place in the standpoint that Star in the Mountain, there's nothing like that anywhere else. I mean, the fact that we're so close to a bordering city that's very large, like Juarez, and like a bordering state like New Mexico with Sunland Park, Mount Cristo Rey, you know, like the Chihuahua Mountains, the Franklins. Like, there's a lot that you don't find anywhere else. And I mean, I've lived in California, I've lived in South Carolina, I've traveled like around the country, and like it's such a unique place. And above all else, the people are like the nicest you'll meet anywhere. Of course, you have like the Edgars and stuff, and you got like the bad drivers, you know. Like I'll never like. I love El Paso. I love El Paso, but every time I drive on I-10, I'm like, I get a little bit like, yeah, it docks some points, you know. But I think the uniqueness is what caught my eye, and I think what inspired me to have a lot of pride is I would take drives to work, or I would take drives to shoots, and being able to drive in Central or drive by the Segundo Barrio and see like a street that you never noticed before, like with the sunset behind it, or to drive in Manhattan Heights and just see different perspectives of the city that like no one promotes or no one sees. Like it's captivating, you know. And I think that's where and I've had that at a very young age, even before I was photographing, you know. I just think it's a very unique city, and once I started, people gravitated towards it. And I mean, I see you guys have the photo book. Once I made that photo book with the different imagery, a lot of people from out of town, you know, they like my most sales are to folks out of town. Wow. Like I shipped 10 books to Hawaii a week ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's and I get messages and stuff, and it's like, yeah, like this is the stuff that I like reminds me of my childhood. Like I got a DM from a lady that she lives in Athens, Georgia, and she told me, I grew up with my grandma in the Lincoln Park area, and we'd walk that park a lot before they did like that the Loop project. It used to be an old neighborhood, and they knocked it down and they made like the park. And she's like, I remember that park so vividly, and I look at your photos and I look at like the stuff that you capture, and it takes me back to that time. And El Paso is one of the cities, like it's stuck in time. It's very progressive, but it's stuck in time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can go to certain neighborhoods and it looks identical to how it would have looked like back in the day.
And there's a lot of history in this area.
There is a lot of history, yeah.
People often, like, forget about that. One of our early guests on the pod was Caleb from Elevate El Paso, and we've seen his clips. He talks about the history of El Paso, and there's a bunch of crazy shit that happened here. And that's pretty cool, man. Your book, I'm glad you brought it up, because it's the next thing on the topic. Views from the Sun City, right?
Yeah.
Volume 1.
Volume 1.
So how did that come about? Tell us about it.
Yeah, when I was doing the doc last...
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
When I was doing the doc last year, I had to look up a lot of archival footage based on the 50s and 60s here in El Paso. And, you know, just like... I think I saw a couple of interviews done by Tom Lee. He was really famous artist. He did like a lot of World War II art, and one of the parks in El Paso is named after him. And he has a couple of art books. And doing more deep dives, you see like art books, you see like architecture books, you see photo books, and like it's tons of topics, like by landscape, you know, to various like topics. And I was very like intrigued by that. And you look it up, and it seems like that was art that was stuck in that era. And I know people like a nice coffee table book, you know, and whether that's a magazine or if that's actually like a legit book. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, that'd be a cool thing to do, man. You don't see any of that with El Paso, like a solid photo book of El Paso.
Yeah.
So this happened in May when I had this thought, and I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to make it. And if no one buys it, I can at least say I did it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I had a talk at the El Paso Chamber in June, and I soft launched the book there, and a lot of folks like gravitated towards it. And we had the book launch and signing in July, and from there, just been shipping that thing out, and it picked up a lot in the summer. It's slowing down, but that's a lack of like advertisement on my end. Mm-hmm. But I'm still getting sales weekly, which is awesome. And once the holidays hit, I want to promote it more and hopefully get rid of the books I have in my garage right now, you know, like, and then start working on the volume 2. But No, it's definitely something that like it was just grown out as something I wanted to see. And I thought to myself, like, if it's good enough, people are gonna resonate and want it as well.
What's your favorite shot in that book?
Is this a drone shot?
That's a drone shot, yeah.
Dude.
There is a photo
My personal favorite is the one with Chico's in the airplane.
with Chico's in the airplane.
love that.
right above it.
Yeah.
That's
That's
that
a
could
great
be like a fucking album cover right there.
So many pictures in there could be like an album cover. There it is right there. His favorite.
Yeah, I like. There's a photo of a cowboy on Scenic Drive. Where's it at? It was super off of a whim. Huh. I think it's in the book.
Volume 2.
If not, yeah,
Coming soon,
definitely volume 2.
Yeah. And
Oh,
there's
here
Oh, there it is.
there's such a cool aspect
That's
of
my favorite right there.
oh hell yeah.
I went up to get the sunset and literally like, dude, it's random. Like alone in that side of Scenic Drive. When you guys have been up there, it's like always packed. He's just looking out into the sunset, and I was like,
Just one cowboy guy?
one cowboy
Was
guy,
he crying
man.
or something?
I don't know. I got this with the long lens, and I was like, this is super picturesque for like no reason at all. So I got it, and I looked down, and this guy like he was gone super quick.
What if he jumped off, dude?
Oh my god.
He jumped off the hill and you're like, oh shit.
I appreciate that though, because last night we were filming the comet and like everyone was on Trans Mountain and we were shooting like every one of us was pointed into the sky like looking for this comet, but Christian noticed all the people, and he's like, I need to get a picture of the people like photographing the comet, Dude, I heard that too.
Yeah, I heard a camera go off. I don't know which one.
Did it switch off?
Yeah? It's good?
The screen was on.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
This one's my favorite right here.
Oh, with the birds.
I love that one.
A lot of these moments too, they're like non-staged. Like it's just like I'm a passenger in the car and I happen to have my camera. Or I'm like walking around and I just get what I see. Like, and that's what I like. I think a lot of people, they're like, bro, like you frame that really well, or like a couple with the drone shots, like the way like symmetrically how like it's laid out with the skyline. They're like, oh, I really appreciate that, and I'm like, call it luck, call it whatever. I think I was just like, it's not planned, like it's just I just capture it as it is,
With that being said, what type of this style of photography that you do, what would you call it, or is there a name for it?
I think like it lines more with like street photography.
Street landscape.
Yeah, I think would be the term. Yeah, I guess that would be it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another
Candid.
thing that
Candid, yeah.
I've been like learning because I follow a bunch of like photography shit on Instagram and I start getting reels about like composition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like different
Rule of
forms.
thirds.
Yeah, like different stuff. And me and Sal were always sending each other stuff. Do you follow any of that, or is it just all like natural to you? Like you see it and you capture it.
I feel like I would classify it as natural. I'm aware of like the do's and don'ts, especially with symmetry, but I like to, I don't know, not like let the rules affect my work too much. Like I want the image to speak for itself. Like I don't want the highlight to be the cropping or the way it's framed, or I want the highlight to be what's being captured, whether that's like a subject or whether that's like the landscape or the sunset. I want that to be the focal point. So usually, like I just spray and pray, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if
With
it's
the
spray and pray
shadow.
for Christian, because I've watched him work and like I see a lot of that content about like the rule of thirds and like different tactics, and I kind of follow it because I'm not naturally artistic. I would say like it's a muscle that I have to work out. Christian like picks up a camera and like when he captures something, I'm like, dude, like did you see what you just got right there? Like he just picks it up and does it. Maybe it's more passive for him than it is for me, but it's very innate in who he is, like whereas me, I have to like structure it more in my mind and plan it out a little bit more.
Do you ever have moments where you're out, maybe you go to the grocery store, put gas, and you don't have a camera with you, and you see something, you're like, fuck.
All the time, man. It's like every time I'm at Albertsons after like 6 p.m., the sky is popping off.
Yeah.
And it's funny because at the start of my like photo career, I would get very not upset, but like that FOMO type mindset, like, oh, I need to get my camera. I get very fidgety and very anxious. But now it's like a nice moment to where I'm like, oh well, I'll capture tomorrow's. Like it's bound to be nice tomorrow or the day after that. Like I'll enjoy this one for me.
Yeah, you just
Like,
gotta
I
like
won't-
soak it in.
Yeah, like, and I think that's a big thing because a lot of photographers, they're so obsessed with capturing it that they forget to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And especially with sunset, it happens all the time, man. When I'm at like Walmart or like freaking Albert, it's funny because it's a meme. Like it's like the skies when I'm filming. It's like in the skies when I'm like leisuring. Like it's funny and that it's ironic, but yeah, I think that's a good reminder for creatives to really live and enjoy in the moment itself.
That's great advice.
Because we do have some beautiful sunsets here.
We do.
Every time I see one, I'm like messaging Christian. I'm like, "Are you getting this, bro? Like it's purple right now outside."
Would y'all prefer a sunset here rather than California or New York?
Yeah, there's
would too,
nothing
yeah.
beats the West Texas, Southern New Mexico sunsets. I swear,
Agreed.
The colors pop off.
the
more.
colors, the mountains.
A
the-
New York sunset's nice though. Like I think I was in New York for work in May, and I was in the Fidei area, and like the sun hitting the building, and like the sun rays like in the reflection of like the colors. I thought that was beautiful. But yeah, nothing beats an El Paso sunset. Honestly.
So we went to New York this summer, just as like a homies trip. We ended up doing a pod out there just because
Heck yeah.
that itself was kind of crazy. I packed my whole fucking pod in a suitcase. Yeah.
TSA must have had a fun time with that, right?
No, I checked that bag in. I was
there
like,
you go.
Yeah, it was all checked in. It was the biggest luggage I have. My personal one was little, but then I had a big old one. That was the whole fucking pod. But we did a day where we spent a day at Central Park. And this guy and some of our other homies, they were going to run through all Central Park. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking run, dude. I'm on vacation. So me and the other homie, Olivas, we were like, let's just go take pictures. Like, walk Central Park. That was so much fun, man.
Yeah.
There was so much crazy shit going on. We got to the area where the fountain is at.
Yeah.
So many photo shoots happening. Like, just craziness. Like, so much, like, diversity. And I was just, like, sensory overload. I don't even know what to take a picture of, but I was just snapping away and everything.
that city never stops giving for content.
Yeah.
That's why when I started photography there, it was so easy because people are like, "You're a great photographer." I'm like, "No, this city just is amazing at like creating moments that you can capture. Like you're just lucky to be there."
It's funny that you say that because that's how I feel about El Paso. Like, I don't think like I attest anything to myself. I think it's, again, the city's very
Because
giving.
he's humble too.
The city's very giving. And I think with El Paso, you have to look a little bit like more, But
You kind of have to squint.
yeah, you got to squint a little
Close
bit.
one eye. And
Yeah. But once you see it, man, like there's a story to tell, and like the buildings and the people, the sunsets, and it's an amazing city. And it's funny because you're talking about how people hate and they're like, fuck El Paso, I want to move.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same people that move that they get that like kind of homesick.
They buy the photo book.
and they're the ones that buy the photo book. Yeah.
They move back though.
They
always,
do.
They
Yeah.
always come
They
back.
always move back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to how unique our region is, But no, I think I agree with you with New York, but I find so much similarities with El Paso.
I agree. Yeah.
So is the city itself is what primarily inspired you? Would you say,
With El Paso,
or just in general to pick up a camera and
I think
have at it?
I've been inspired by like many different artists, but I think the one similarity in all the people I follow is that they have like an innate drive to just go out and create. Like it doesn't matter the day, it doesn't matter the like the conditions of the day, the weather. Like if there's anything interesting, it's like they're gonna go find something interesting, and that's something that I think I try to put in my work ethic as a creative. Is that on the days where it seems boring, it's like there's something there that you need to find. And it's easy when the sunset's popping off and the colors are there because it's the scene's doing all the work for you. But when it's not, like it's
You got to fight harder.
that's when
for
you have
it.
to fight harder for the creative, And I think that's just something I like to do on the daily,
Yeah.
I love that. And it's like when with De La Story, like people always say there's nothing to do in El Paso, but like there's so much going on here outside of the beautiful, captivating images, like people, like restaurants, like activities. There's so much going on here. You just got to look a little more closely, I think, a little more discerning.
Yeah. Just go outside. I think a lot of people just don't go outside. They don't
Honestly.
explore.
Yeah.
Go explore.
Go explore. your own city. Like people forget that they can explore their own city. You think you know everything about a place until you go explore.
We did. When did we go downtown? Like 2 months ago. Me and Sawi went downtown one day. We were like, we need to practice photography. Like, let's just go downtown. And we spent like 2-3 hours. We were out there, man, for a while, and it was fun. Just
So fun to do
just
that.
soaking it all in.
Yep.
There's so many beautiful areas that just go out there and do it. You know. Do you guys have any particular favorite spots you like to go shoot at?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what I was about to ask.
Beat you to it.
My favorite, I have like a variety. I think right now for me, it's the Sunset Heights area right there north of downtown. Because, you can find some back alleys with some dope perspectives of like the skyline downtown, or even just some of like the housing there. Like if you go down there with the telephoto, like you can get some really cool shots. I think there, and then down Arizona Street. It's if you go up Arizona, it's like a hill, and it's all downhill once you reach a certain area. I like parking up at the top of the hill, and you get that nice perspective of the mountains with I like Sunset Heights and like I-10 in the distance. And again, it's just all about like finding those specific areas. But then again, like Northeast El Paso, super slept on. Like there's some really nice areas
that's
out there
true.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are just scared to go there.
Honestly, people should be more scared of the Far East than the Northeast now. But I think wherever you go, Segundo Barrio is also a huge favorite of mine. I think there's a lot of history there. It's so cool with the murals and stuff.
Yeah, the murals are super dope there.
Yeah. How about
The
you?
history. I like downtown.
Downtown?
I like downtown just because like I started shooting in like with a bunch of buildings around me. I love downtown, getting reflections off buildings, getting reflections off puddles of pigeons flying through the air or whatever. But I also like the vast expanses like where you can see forever. So like up on Trans Mountain, Scenic Drive, you know, just the classic places. But downtown is definitely will always be my favorite place to shoot. There's so much going on there, so much to see.
Have you guys shot like through the river? The Rio
yeah.
Grande?
Oh, yeah.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I've done in the river like engagement photos when it was dry during the fall,
Yeah.
and we had the couple walk into the river, and super cool, super unique. Those tall reeds growing up, and like actually Highway 28. Highway
Yeah,
28
It's
is
really nice, man.
especially now when the colors start changing on the trees, all the way up to TRC.
Yeah.
Like that back road all the way up, like the yellow leaves, red leaves. Oh man,
Stallman's, yeah.
Stallman
Stallman's
Farms,
Farms.
dude. Yeah. Very, very nice.
fly your drone to that like little.
You guys,
That
you
would
guys
be
ever?
dope.
I don't condone that. But if you could do it, yeah.
There's some of our buddies claim that they saw some paranormal activity there in Stallman's, and it's like a
Chupacabra.
no. Well, for one, La Llorona is a thing that people always talk about in this area. But what was it that they saw some dude like wearing a green tracksuit or some shit?
Yeah, but I would say, I guess like a tracksuit, I guess, but like
Or just wearing green or something. I don't know.
like maybe a little bit lighter than the can, but like glowing.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, there's some. We've been wanting to go.
Paranormal.
Yeah,
out there.
paranormal.
That'd be pretty
investigate.
cool.
Have you guys
little
experienced
freaky.
anything like that?
As a kid, my dad was in Border Patrol, so we lived in a lot of different places, and I remember vividly. We were parked in Imperial Valley, California, for a few years, and there's like a couple of small towns around it. And I remember we're driving from Brawley, California, to Imperial Valley, and we saw like a glowing, like literally like, and it sounds so fake and made up, but I remember I was like 7, and vividly, like you can't forget it. Like a man on the side of the road, like waving at cars, but it's like if somebody had their brights at you. Like it was so reflective and so bright, but you could see the silhouette of a man. And my whole family saw it, my brother, my mom, my dad. And I remember like the next morning, like it captivated my parents so much that they did research, and like there's like a hitchhiker that died like 15 years prior on that same road. And people like, I don't know the equivalent of like a subreddit back in like 2007, but like people were saying like, yeah, like that's like his spirit, you know, still trying to hitchhike. And I was like, shit, man, like that's pretty, like, I think that stuck with me. I haven't seen anything since. Of course, like the house when it's like quiet and you see like that shadow, you know, you're like, oh, like I haven't had some of those, but I think that's like the most legit paranormal that like undeniable. Like you can't make that crap up, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about La Llorona in this area.
Yeah, man.
And then I was like, whatever about it. But then I started looking into it and just hearing from friends of ours that they, law enforcement get a lot of calls.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of all related. And it's, oh, shit, there probably is something out here.
How easy would it be, though, for like a woman to just dress up and like fuck with people?
That would be dedication, though. Like, you know what? I'm gonna just fuck with people today. Like,
That's like
put on the weeping widow.
tiring, I would assume, because like
that's her gig.
That's her gig.
It's like weekends, that's what she does.
Oh.
We thought about doing something like that, like pranking one of our friends.
That'd be funny.
Just have somebody, in makeup out there,
Yeah.
and we do something like that. But man, that would be, I don't know, that'd be fucked up to do to someone.
Traumatized.
Yeah, traumatizing for sure.
Shit like that, you got to do like
Takes
at
dedication.
1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
It's not gonna happen like at 9.
I went on one of the ghost tours in El Paso, the Socorro ghost tours, like out in
Yeah.
the Mission Trail and stuff like that. And like they have the little ghost meter that like reads, like paranormal activity.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything. People were like, I feel it. I feel the presence, like, and maybe it's just because I'm skeptical, but I was like, I don't know, man. I
Those
think that's
people
just
are
the
just too
wind blowing
gullible.
or whatever. Exactly.
Well, it's all the Catholic moms in El Paso, man. Like my mom, whenever she's uneasy, she puts the incest on, and she's like, "Oh," like she'll look at like the door, and she's like, "I see something," and I'm like, come on, like let's calm down a little bit." That was the mailman, okay?
Oh, that's funny. Starts lighting up all the velas and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what was the first time you guys actually picked up a camera?
My dad had an old 35 millimeter that he bought on South El Paso Street in the 70s, and he was always sitting in his office. And like one day I picked it up, and I still have the photos from it. Like, we developed them back in the 90s.
Damn.
And because I'm old. But that was the first time I picked up a camera. And then my parents had one of those camcorders, like the big camcorders, and like me and my brother used to make like movies with those, and like it would say like Zach Zuniga director. I still have all that footage, and that was like, it was really young when I gravitated towards like capturing moments, I think.
Damn.
And same here. Like when I was young, my dad had a Canon, a film camera. He hardly used it, but he always bagged it with us for vacations. And I remember grabbing it a few times. And then when my brother was in high school, he did yearbook, and he would bring his gear home, and I was very interested by it. But I think that'd be like the first time I officially like messed around with the camera.
I still have my dad has this old like Panasonic, those like throw on your shoulder. I have it in my room. I was gonna bring it out, but maybe I'll bring it out right now.
You should bring it out.
He used to do, I don't know, he bought it off some dude off the church we used to go to, but he used to do like home films like, at the house. He would record me.
That's cool.
I would dress up as
a guy, I would hope.
It's like, this is getting dark.
A lot of revealing right here.
Oh no. What's the dude's name? The one that's like the cowboy that wears like the little Zorro mask, but he's like a cowboy. What's his name?
Oh,
Lone Ranger. Is it
Lone Ranger.
Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
I would dress up as Lone Ranger. I had an outfit, so I had the mask. I had a hat. I had my little pistols and like a rifle. And my dad would just be like, "Just play, and I'll record you." So I would be like, shooting and like doing cartwheels and stuff, and he was just recording me. We had those films with the old VHS.
They used the full VHS in that
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that's a big camera.
And I don't know what happened to them, man. I've been wanting to find them, but I have the camera. I want to restore it. It still works.
Those old cameras, you don't need to do much to get them to work. Honestly, they're very basic.
But it's pretty cool, man. And it's just it just has a lot of like sentimental value, and that's pretty cool.
I still have my dad's old 35 millimeter. I still shoot film on it. Like that was the first camera I ever picked up. But then I started collecting old cameras, and now my house is filled with a bunch of old stuff. And I have one of those big Panasonic, like massive ones that you put an actual VHS in to record.
Well, let me bring it out real quick.
Yeah, go get it.
I'm gonna need a potty break.
Yeah, I'm all good.
Yeah, we're going through those teas, man.
You asshole.
I'm still working on my first.
What's your normal daily schedule look like?
It's it varies, but usually it's like week by week.
Yeah.
You know, like depending who I'm working with or the clients.
Yeah, how far in advance do you have like stuff scheduled?
Pretty I think like 2 weeks in advance.
Oh, yeah?
I try to, yeah. It's easy for like long term projects like the doc, but like I'll randomly get hit up for random stuff. Like 3 weeks ago, I went on a ride along with Border Patrol.
Oh, okay.
Just because my buddy was doing like a piece and he wanted like video of it, and then this weekend I did the Amigo Air Show for El Paso Electric. So like it varies, but just trying to keep busy, you know.
What was that ride along?
They're doing a piece on the they're following the life of a migrant that was in Juarez that was getting ready to cross, and then they're following a Border Patrol agent and just showing like the similarities and the differences between the two. So all they asked me to help out with was to film the Border Patrol agent portion of it. So we did a ride along with the agent. It was action packed, man. We started like at 6 a.m. and immediately like they got called to like for an arrest right there off of Sunland Park. And then by the end of the day, like there's like the low flying chopper because right there off of Sunland Park there's a little gap, and yeah, they're just running in, and
Damn.
we got to see the chopper. Like it's funny because like these agents, they have the PR like mask on, and then like immediately when stuff's happening, they take it off and they'll gun the car and like just take off.
And they're like, get to the chopper.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, let's see that bad boy.
Oh man, this thing's
big
hella
bag.
dusty. I found it and I was like, I'm gonna hang on to this sucker.
Yeah, I have the exact same one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you're gonna take a look at it. That just reminds me of like WWE, you know?
Oh yeah, with the old guys with the short shorts and the polos.
I love the viewfinder on it. It's like separate from the camera, and
it's
then the
Sonic,
mic
man.
at the top.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And it still works. I just need one of the connections. I have all the connections in here.
Nice.
But it's just kind of loose. Like my dad just like taped it. it's all fucked up. But,
That's super cool, man.
Yeah, this thing's gotten some use. You can tell.
I just need to buy tapes for it, and
If you need parts for it, I have the exact same one at my house, and it's like
Really?
I can swap you parts to help it get going. Because I never plan on using it, but that's got sentimental value too. So
it would be cool to shoot something on this
100%.
because you can transform the VHS too. Yeah.
Especially because everyone's craving that nostalgia nowadays, man. Like,
Super 8.
how many
16
filters are
millimeter.
there on freaking Instagram
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
for that like Panasonic look? So it's a niche, man.
Yeah.
Jump on it.
I'm gonna hang on
People
to
will
this.
definitely
Pot off
support
of it.
Yeah. Imagine.
That'd be pretty cool.
Go do some street interviews. I mean,
Yeah, turn on the light on it too. Like,
oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, that just brought back a bunch of memories.
That's cool how the memory's so attached to that thing.
Yeah, man. And it's since I was a little kid. Years. I'm 31 going on 32 now. Probably over 20 years that we've had that camera.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. So speaking of like hardware and cameras, like what do you guys roll with, or what's your go-tos?
Yeah, so right now for me, for all my videos shot on a FX30, a Sony FX30. And then for my photos, it's a Sony A7 III. And then for the drone, I have the DJI Air 3.
Nice.
I'm very tempted to upgrade because they just announced like a new Air 3S like yesterday. So
Really?
yeah,
How often do they upgrade those?
they usually do upgrades to older models at least once a year.
Okay.
So they have like different lines. Like they have like the minis, and then like the cine drones, and then they have like the air drones. So yeah, it's tough. It's like iPhones, man. Like you want to jump on a new one the minute it gets announced, but yeah.
I think it like this proves the point that it doesn't matter what gear you have. I have the A7R5, which is like a better photography, like the newer photography camera. I have the FX3. I have the Sony Mavic 3 Cine. Like all really high quality pieces of equipment, but you can't create what Christian creates. You know, like even if you tried with those things, like you got to have that artistic vision.
Yeah.
The equipment plays a part for sure, but more so it's like, you know, like I said, like working out the muscle and doing it often like he does, you know.
I try.
Humble.
Very
Hashtag humble.
Do you guys have a go-to lens?
Yeah, my I have a 50 mil f1.4, but then I'm very not practical. I like taking my telephoto everywhere I go. The 70 to 200 f2.8.
That lens is a beast.
Yeah, it's a beast of a lens. It's super cool. I like that depth of field look though, and like the telephoto, like that whole look. But
That's the one that you have, isn't it?
The same. I think it's a 70 to 180.
70 to
okay.
180.
The Sigma or Tamron? Tamron 70 to 180. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. I like when I shot photography on Canon, my 70 to 200 was my favorite lens. It's just such a beast. It's not exactly versatile, well, you know, but like you can pull the most incredible photos out of that thing. And nowadays it's my 24 to 70 because it's just a good focal length, 2.8 aperture. It's a great lens, very versatile.
I find myself gravitating to a lot of like tight shots.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
70 to 200.
Yeah.
Need one of those bad boys.
Yeah, I've used his and it's really cool. But yeah, I like that tight shot. It's very like personal. You see all the details when you get in there.
And you get that nice change of perspective, you know, because everybody sees a certain way, and like when you zoom in, like that's why I love the drone I have. It has a 24 millimeter attached to it, and then it has a 70 millimeter attached to it, so it's technically like a telephoto lens.
Okay.
And when you do the 70 millimeter, you can zoom. Like if I'm flying by the Spaghetti Bowl, and if you're facing west towards the Franklin Mountains, with the 70 millimeter, you can stack perspectives to where like it's the neighborhood's going uphill and then the mountain itself. So you get like a really nice different perspective of the area that you wouldn't get with a wide lens. So that's why I'm super like big on the telephoto. It's like with the drone and with my cam, you know.
Yeah, some of my favorite pictures of yours, Christian, are with the telephoto, and it's because like this.
Yeah.
Like you get the foreground in there,
And you get that background.
and then the background is just blown up too.
Yeah.
You know, we were just in Albuquerque last week for the Balloon Fest, and some of the pictures you got there with like the balloons and then the mountains in the background and people right up close. Super unique and cool.
Was that just like a personal thing that you guys wanted to go do, like, or was it for work?
No, I last year I did it, and I woke my ass up super early, like at 3 a.m. to go do the dawn patrol. And this year I was like, I'm gonna go, and I invited Zach. I'm like, you want to go with me? And he's like, yeah. So we made it like it was like a day trip, huh? Like we like literally got to Albuquerque the night before and
went out drinking until like midnight, and then we're like, all right, let's sleep for 3 hours and then wake up and go to dawn patrol. It was awesome. Super cool experience.
then we drove back like right after. We ate by the university and then we drove back. So yeah, that was fun.
It was a lot of fun. And we're going to Phoenix this weekend for work. We're doing a little filming out there, but we also have like a bunch of other stuff planned that we're going to capture while we're out there.
And then even talking about New York, we're even like, it's cool, man, to have like a bud that like does the same stuff that you do.
Yeah.
Because like you think about that, like it's good to take trips to just go create like blindlessly, you know, like you find what you find, and we're very like-minded. So I was like, fuck it, dude, you want to go to New York in November?
Yeah,
like,
so we're gonna go to New York and just film and take photos.
Yeah.
You know, capture good content, cool content.
Damn, that's pretty badass, dude.
Yeah.
Have you gone to New York during like the winter when it's colder?
Yes, I went to New York. I had a client that flew me out there twice this year. First time was January 10th, and that's the first snow. Like I think that New York had gotten that whole winter. So when I flew in late into LaGuardia, and I was staying in Midtown. I walked to Times Square, and the snow started coming down. Very, very nice in the moment. I was there for 6 days. Fucking terrible, you know, to like maneuver through the snow.
Yeah.
Because like all the snow went through the subway, and everything's all grimy and dirty, and
The snow turns black.
yeah, it's black, and then you're slipping like on like 30th Street, and like your gear's getting wet. It's the whole. I did not enjoy New York very much during the snow, but I'm excited to see it like picturesque in the fall.
In the
you
fall,
know?
it's beautiful. Like come January, it's miserable. You know, like if it snows there, right where the curbs come, there it looks like, you know, you just step through a curb, but it's usually like a 4-inch deep puddle of melted snow, and you get like black socks from like going ankle deep in that thing.
It was a miserable experience. I love it though. Like I'm glad I went through it. Like I feel like I got the true New York experience. You know?
New York is badass, dude. We
It's
love
cool.
New York. We've done several trips now.
I've only done twice.
Twice with this
great
guy.
city.
I've gone 3 with another friend, but this summer we had a blast. Our last night, the day that we shot the pod, we went out karaokeing.
Oh heck yeah!
We karaoke till like 2, 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning. We got back to the Airbnb and like we still gotta shoot this pod. Fucked up.
That was probably a great podcast episode.
Yeah,
We're all fucked up.
you guys should go watch it. It's there. Be the judges. But
I would love to.
oh yeah, it was cool, man. I love it. I love the city, and man, yeah,
Greatest city.
we want to go back every year, but it's just, yeah, it's cool. I don't know if I can handle it anymore.
There's a difference between when you live there and when you travel there, because every time people travel there, they're in Times Square, they're down at Battery Park looking at the Statue of Liberty. Like, you're where everyone is, you know?
Yeah,
When you live there, you kind of have like more intimate moments, like not as hectic, not as crazy, you know? Like, you get to enjoy it a little bit more. But when you visit, you kind of like running, you're on the train up and downtown, you know, you're going everywhere. It's exhausting.
yeah. This last time that we went, we were like, fuck it. We've done all the sightseeing stuff. We're not gonna do any of that. We're just gonna go to bars.
Smart.
Yeah.
We just did bars. We went to a baseball game.
The Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. And that was cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot because we got to see another side. And yeah, it's pretty badass.
I'm hoping Mets and Yanks go to World Series, man. That'd be a cool thing to see when we go.
That'd be
down
crazy.
There.
That'd
Then
be
they're gonna burn
honestly-
that city to the ground.
Yeah, you
The
will.
fans, you know?
Either or, yeah.
Yeah, I got my tripod stolen in Chinatown when I was there in May.
Really?
Yeah, I remember I was shooting for work, and we ended the day like at 9 p.m. And I was like, of course. And I learned this is like the normal there. Most New Yorkers aren't having their first official meal until they're after work, like done with work, and that's like usually 8:30 to 9. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Chinatown, get some dinner. So by myself, I go to Chinatown, I get dinner, I take the last train up towards Midtown because I'm staying like on South 30th, and I sit next to the door, big mistake, and someone's tugging at my bag, and at the time I had a lot of expensive gear in the bag, and the only thing this guy got, which I'm not gonna assume he's homeless, probably was homeless, he snagged on the corner of my bag and he took my tripod that I had bought for that trip. And I look, and then the door's closed, and yeah, this dude's like hauling ass to the entrance of the subway station. And I'm like, well, fuck. But I'm exhausted at that point. Like, I was up at 6 a.m., ended my day at 9, got late dinner, and I'm like, fuck it.
Like, let him have it.
Yeah, you can keep it. And then my coworkers were joking. They were like, dude, like, go to, I forgot what street. I don't know if it's East Village. He's like, go on the Saturday, and you'll probably find that same tripod for sale. Like, out in the street or something. But yeah, that was a fun experience.
Fuck. Some guy tried to fight me in the subway.
That's a real New York experience right there. There are certain things that like you check off, like that's a real, like you're a real New Yorker now. You know?
Yeah.
Subways are so fun down there, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. If you know where you're going, the first time it was a bit intimidating. 'Cause
Yeah.
You really need to know when to get on
Uptown
and
or
off.
downtown, like.
And you're just looking at all these letters, and then I'm dyslexic, so they all fucking just.
And you
flip
can't
back and
ask
forth.
anyone because they're just like, get out of here. you
Yeah.
know?
But no, it's cool, man. That's a cool city.
Yeah. This guy got in my subway car. We're like going down the Canal Street, and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, like he's like everyone's like over like everything. Like there's like dead faced New Yorkers in this whole car. And this guy comes out and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, it's my birthday. I'm gonna sing some Ray Charles for you. And he like goes and he's solid. Like he's like, I was like, oh, this fucking guy. And then like I'm listening, and I'm like, this dude's really good, man. What the heck? And then like there's like no one's paying any attention.
Everybody's like on their phone.
You got your
Yeah, man.
headphones in,
And
that's-
I'm like, this guy's like a hidden talent, man. Like you gotta fly him out to LA or something. But it cracked me up. But that's like the normal, you know, like the stuff you see.
Yeah. One of the trips we saw they had some dudes performing in the subway also. And they were doing like a whole, they were like what do they call when it's like a couple of dudes? I don't know what the fuck. They're all like a cappella.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they were good. They were really good, but they were dressed up. They were.
There's a lot of subway performers that are very talented, like the acrobatic people to like ventriloquists, like all sorts of people that perform, you know?
Then we saw like the opposite, and
Not a good time.
where there's a guy sitting there, and there's like nobody sitting around him because it's just a puddle around him.
Never get on a subway car that's completely empty. That means
yeah.
it's a stinky, smelly car that someone is sleeping in, most likely.
Yeah. One of the nights also, we were coming back from partying. and we're just all just sitting in the subway, and we're talking to people, and some guy has a backpack, and he starts busting out beers. He's like, "Who wants a beer?" And I was like, "I'll take one."
Stranger beers.
Yeah. So we just started having beers with this dude in the subway, and it's like, you don't get that shit anywhere else.
No.
It's America right there.
Yeah, America.
America dream right there, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So do you get flown out to like a lot of places and stuff like that?
Occasionally, I think the more that my name's growing, the more that I've been recognized in different like markets per se. Mm-hmm. Like with weddings, again, like most recent, I was out in San Francisco doing a wedding, Palm Springs. There's a really cool opportunity I got to network with folks out in LA. Mm-hmm. They filmed a show here in El Paso, and I was basically like, I scouted locations for them for like 3 months, and then when they came, it was a couple of not big names, but like actors that are recognizable, like those like third party actors in like sitcoms. Yeah, that they came and they filmed a whole series out here.
Is that show out yet or not yet?
Not yet. They're shopping it around. I think they said that they want to push it for Hulu. Oh, but okay. It's a lot of cool opportunities to travel for work and network with people outside of El Paso. But it's nice. It's I'm hoping it can happen more often, because those are fun opportunities, to go and try to replicate what you're doing here in like a different city. I find enjoyment in that. I think it's fun.
Do you guys think that El Paso is very giving in that sense of like collaborating with other people?
I think it's starting to be. I think for a while there's this weird stigma of like gatekeeping, especially in the creative community, which makes sense because you want to make sure that you take care of yourself. You're not trying to give away your secret sauce to anybody. Yeah. But I think what that did is that created a really competitive market for photographers. At least when I was starting off, a lot of photographers like wouldn't give you the time of day to like just even like if you recognize their work, it's like they wouldn't care. Like they don't care about you at all. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big part of me is like collaborating with people, even like if you're up and coming, if you've been around, like meeting new people and like just like talking, like I think it's really important. But I see it slowly like that shell starting to crack with the creative scene in El Paso, where people are more collaborative and not competitive,
Mm-hmm. I would say that, and it's because I haven't been in the game in El Paso as long as you, but like Christian was one of the first big creatives that I ever contacted, and he was super giving and super kind. So I feel like creatives in El Paso are very collaborative as long as you approach them the right way, like appreciate their work first, and let them know that you appreciate it. You're not trying to copy it and like you could never do that anyways. But yeah, from my experience, it's been great working with other creatives in El Paso. There's tons of them, and they all want to learn from each other. Like we all realize that we're not the best. So like working with other people is like fundamental to growing, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Even when I hit you up the first time, it was I felt like I was back in my old Cincy days, trying to shoot my shot with like a hot girl at a bar. I was like, I'm gonna shoot him a DM, see what happens. Just shoot your shot. What's that saying that you don't make the shots that you don't take or whatever?
You miss 100% of the shots
Scott.
you don't take.
yeah. There you go. And you replied, man. It wasn't right away. Like I was
you left you unread for a little bit.
Yeah.
Instagram is tough with that because you have a request line and then you have like a secondary request line.
And there's a third one.
Yeah, dude. And like a lot of stuff I'm finding and like, because I got some lady emailed me nasty about how like rude I was, how I didn't answer. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like my DMs are empty. And I look and like 3 weeks prior, like never notified, she sent like an inquiry. So like I try to keep it to like, okay, like once a week I'm checking that line to just answer anybody. But yeah, I always feel bad.
No, and I know that now that because I have like my personal Instagram and then I have the one for the podcast, and I know that there's like
multiple requests. It's weird.
So it's really weird, but you accepted, man, and you agreed, and that's pretty cool because like you're giving us the time of day. Like I said, we're very new. We're not very known. We're kind of out here in the middle of the road.
Busy guy, man.
Yeah. So that's cool, man. It says a lot about your persona and who you are.
Yeah, man. It's important, man. It's important to learn and grow with the people in your community, and like I'm a firm believer on not burning bridges and like keeping bridges intact, especially the new ones that you make. And yeah, I think it's cool, man. I love seeing people passionate about what they do, and you guys are clearly passionate about this. And in a community like Anthony that doesn't get a lot of love, you know, and you guys are that glimmering light out here. I think it's badass stuff, man. So
yeah, no, it's cool. We've collaborated with a couple of other podcasts. I feel like the podcast community in this area is very new.
Yeah,
There's a handful of them that are consistent with it. There's a lot that fell off, but the few that are consistent, we've collaborated with them already, and everybody's dope. Everybody's really cool. So that's one of my things where like I want to keep working with creatives, just creatives in general. Yeah, because we are very like El Paso's still growing in that sense. Like we don't have a lot of influencers and stuff like that. I wouldn't even consider us influencers.
Not even
I think
close.
We're just people that like doing this shit. You know?
Yeah.
And we kind of found our passion for it.
Honestly, the best advice I got was that people love to support passionate people. So I think as long as that's in the forefront of what you're doing and why you're doing it, I think you guys are sky's the fucking limit, you know?
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. I'm going to get that tattooed in my chest.
It's a long tattoo on your chest.
What future plans or goals do you guys have in mind?
I'm very simplistic. I go with the flow. I'm very much like a week to week, month to month. I think, and I'm gonna give a very artsy answer. My only goal in this life is to make something that will resonate in such a way that it's gonna still affect people when I'm gone. Whether that's like a photo or like an art piece or like a video, like that's my only goal. Like just creating a piece of work that like connects with people, you know, and take myself out of it to where that can be like a self-sustaining, like a thing. Like that's my only thing I strive to do. And all this stuff is a bonus in between, you know, the then and now. But yeah, it's very artsy answer.
You can't beat that answer.
No, it's
good. I mean, I have to agree with that, but I guess I have a more specific answer, which is like I want to create a documentary that tells a story that people can gravitate to, like specifically documentaries. Like that's what I gravitate towards, and like I love storytelling, and like that's like the strongest form of storytelling, I think. So I want to make something that resonates with people too, but specifically a documentary.
Nice. You guys ever think about doing like a featured film with actors and script and all that stuff?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Working with actors, like adding all those elements and layers to it. Like a documentary, it's kind of like it unfolds before you, whereas like working with like, you know, actors and everything, you have to kind of coach it a lot more. I would like to, but it's harder.
Definitely, like if I had the opportunity, I would go for it. Like nothing's off the table. But yeah, I think it would be a little bit more challenging, but again, if it's done right, I think it'd be really, really cool.
Yeah, that's always been on my bucket list. I know nothing about filmmaking or anything like that, but if I can hold a mic, just a boom mic or something, and just be part of it, I don't know, we'll get the coffee in the morning. Like that would be dope. That would be really dope. Is that camera done? No, it's good.
Well, they're warming up. We'll see.
Oh,
They're gonna overheat or what?
yeah, it's because I fucked up and I left the little flap on.
Oh, and it doesn't
overheat.
get ventilation as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
The monitor is blowing heat down to the
Gotcha.
so yeah. So this one's also warming up.
Okay, see, first time's using the monitors now.
I turned the monitors off, so
Oh, that's smart.
Okay.
Live and learn,
Damn,
man.
that's why we hired you, bro.
We'll pay you eventually.
You get to have 2 beers.
So what do you guys like to do on your downtime? Like when you're not out there filming, when you're not out there shooting, do you have any free time or anything like that?
Play pool and darts.
Yeah.
Hang out with my dogs.
And with me, when I'm not filming,
He's filming.
I'm filming.
You're filming?
Yeah. I'll go find something to do or go find something to capture. I'm like, yeah. Like it's I don't have an off switch.
Yeah.
You know what? I do enjoy going to the movies though.
Okay.
Like, but like a late night, like 10 p.m. showing. Like I saw there's a new movie about Donald Trump called The Apprentice.
Sorry.
I saw that last night. It was super chill. It was like 3 people in the.
Is it
theater.
like a documentary or?
It's like it's with Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong, and it's about like how he started as like with real estate. It's a real. I don't want to get into it because of the political of it all, you know. But like, it's a very interesting watch. But movies like that, like the indie type film, like the Sony spotlights and stuff. I love those types of movies.
Are you the type of person that you can go to the movies by yourself and?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm weird. I love photographing by myself. I love like going to restaurants by myself, like movies by myself. Like, I think it's important to be comfortable with oneself.
You go to bars by yourself too?
I don't know about that. Bars always. I feel like you couldn't come off as like a little creepy, you know, like depending on the
I
bar.
do that. I go.
Depending on the bar, you know.
I do that.
I go to
dive
Lloyd's.
bar, yeah, dive bars are chill, but like if you're like
Yeah, I'm not going to the club by myself.
going to Cincy by yourself, corner of the room, just looking around and stuff.
Like a night at the Roxbury.
Yeah, that's what I was doing right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time. I haven't gone to the movies by myself. I love watching movies. Like if I have nobody to go with, I'll just wait and
Yeah.
But I can't do that. Maybe I need to try that. Start exploring.
It's kind of nice. Like I've
It
gone to
is
the movie by
nice.
myself, but midday, you know, there's still like 2-3 people.
Yeah.
there, and it's still nice.
It's chill. It's a chill experience.
Christian's an old soul too, so like you gotta like he's younger than probably all of us in here, but he has that like old mentality of like, you know, you can do this by yourself. Like, and I appreciate that about him a lot.
Yeah, I'm old in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
My family compares me to like Larry David. It's like I'll like bitch about random stuff. Like driving, man. Like my
Oh, yeah, I was
commentary
just
on the
about to
road.
bring that up.
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
oh Lord,
These people are turning so damn slow. I'm like, God dang it.
yeah,
Just do your own Curb Your Enthusiasm.
for real. And like I drink White Russians at like all the bars I'm at. I'll seek out like a good White Russian. Yeah. There's like a 80-year-old man in this 25-year-old.
Do you smoke cigars too, or
I do smoke cigars. I do.
or you have your own pipe and then you pack your own stuff?
What type of cigars do you like?
Honestly, I have a buddy of mine. He's from Cali. He recently moved here. He's super big on like the brands and like the types. I'm just like, yeah, bro, just cut. Like I'll cut it and I'll smoke it and like I feel cool.
You like the act of the
Act of smoking a cigar. Like
no.
I'll never. Yeah, I don't like shopping for a specific cigar, but yeah, that like nicotine buzz, right? That you get from smoking. Like I think I smoked one to like the bud one time, and it was at a pool party.
That's a lot.
And like I was in the pool for like 10 hours, and like we smoked the full thing, and I was like, it's like I popped a Zin or something. You know,
You know you're not supposed to inhale them, right?
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You like the dry or like sweeter ones?
The dry.
Dry?
Yeah, I do know that much.
Yeah.
About cigars. Yeah, I like the dry ones.
I'm not a big smoker, but we went for my birthday. We went to this cigar lounge here on Donovan, Havana, and it was pretty cool. Like I liked it. I hated the fact that I had to wash everything the next day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like going camping.
Yeah.
Extent smells.
It was,
Yeah.
and it was lingering in like my beard and my mustache. And the next day I was at work and I was like, "What the fuck is that smell?" And it's like, it's me. Yeah.
I don't mind it because I grew up with a dad that he would smoke like Marlboros, like a pack a day, windows rolled up on our way to school. Like we'd be smelling like a fucking like 40-year-old smoker. Like when we go into like 3rd grade, you know. Like so, I'm used to it.
I used to hate going to my. I had an aunt that lived here, and she was a smoker, and when we would go visit, I'd be like, "Oh fuck, I want to go because it's gonna smell." And like when we get out, like it just, I don't like that smell. I can't smoke.
It's a tough smell, man. Like
I love that
cigarette. You love that smell?
I love it.
Yeah.
Like secondhand. Like when you smoke it yourself, like it smells and tastes terrible. But like when you smell it on someone, I don't know. I've always gravitated. My grandma smoked cigarettes. Like I always liked that smell.
What about bars? Do you guys have any favorite bars in El Paso?
I do. Hope and Anchor is my favorite bar off of Mesa. Super chill.
Yeah, it's a
You
cool
can
bar.
get have a nice night for like $20, you know, like
Yeah.
and get pretty buzzed. And he introduced me to a bar.
Which is my favorite bar.
Yeah, like up Mesa. It's
Lloyd's.
called Lloyd's. Yeah,
Lloyd's,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
It's textbook El Paso right
I
there.
dig
Yeah.
that place a lot. Play some
I
darts.
assume that's where you play darts most of the time.
Darts and pool, yeah. I own that pool table. Like, no one can beat me on that pool.
Do they still have the foosball table there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now they have like those casino games that people come in and play.
The
Yeah,
little dragon
the slot
game or
machine.
something
Yeah, the
like
dragon game. Yeah, yeah. Lloyd's is my favorite. It's like a block from my house too, so that's convenient.
Yeah, I've had some nights where I black out there.
I'm a big dive guy
Yeah.
for sure. Like I don't like. I mean, there's some. I think time and place for like other bars. Mm-hmm. Like I went to Hush Hush one time.
The Reagan is also great for like a good cocktail.
That's
Yeah.
a cool bar. Yeah.
It's expensive.
It's expensive, but like you can't go to Lloyd's every night, and expect to find your future wife. Yeah.
You might.
Yeah, that's
You got a
right.
chance now.
Depending what you like, you know.
She might have like 3 kids at home.
Home alone, no babysitter.
Have you guys do you guys like breweries and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Obviously Dead Beach. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah,
Have you gone to the Highway 28, the one over here?
Oh yeah, right off Highway 28.
Yeah.
I haven't been.
No?
It's a cool place. They have live music out there. It's an open space.
Hell yeah.
Right on 28. It's such a cool place.
We got to take you there, dude.
Yeah, heck
yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Dope ass
down.
spot. Yeah. And then we'll do some ghost hunting afterwards.
Heck yeah, man.
Just stay. Go to the corn maze at night, like after it's all closed down. Creepy.
Yeah, yeah. I DM'd those guys trying to get them on the pod, but no response. So if you guys end up watching this, please
Respond back.
respond back.
It's in the double request line. Okay.
Oh man, that's funny. Man, well, thank you guys so much for coming, man. This is fun.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
This
no,
has been a
definitely.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to plug? Future projects, Instagram pages, anything like that?
Instagram, you can follow me at Christian Churches. Get yourself a book.
Get yourself a book.
It's a great
books are amazing.
coffee table book.
Yeah. And don't ask for a signed book, all right?
Yeah. He's not going to sign them all. You're not special.
If you ask nicely, I might, but don't assume to come signed, please.
You can find me at Zazu Creatives on Instagram. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. No, thank you guys. This was really fun. We'll definitely have to go shoot. I'll pack a notebook so I can take some notes.
Heck
And
yeah.
yeah, awesome. Raleigh, any final words?
No, man. Thank you for
Thanks for the hard
taking time
iced
out of
teas.
your busy days, man, to make it out this
Absolutely.
way for us.
Yeah. Sal, thank you for troubleshooting the cameras.
No problem. I kept forgetting to turn the mic on, so sorry about that. But I remembered at the beginning and at the end, so we'll call it a win.
There you go.
You want to do a monologue before we close out? I'll give you 5 minutes, dude.
Final
Oh
thoughts.
no, we're good. Man.
Yeah. You sure?
No, but thank you guys for coming in. From out here, even having that conversation was very fluid, very very nice to hear what you guys got. We've been working through camera issues as well, so being able to hear your story just kind of inspires us. So appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man. Maybe one day we'll be at 40K plus followers.
You guys will be there sooner than you think. I
Yeah.
believe it. 'Cause you guys have a really cool thing going here.
Thanks.
Consistency, man. That's all it is.
That is the
Yeah.
trick to social media.
That's been the grind. And speaking of all that, we just hit 400 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
That
big.
takes a lot of time to get to 400 subscribers on YouTube.
Heck yeah.
So our goal is to do 500 by the end of the year. We're 100 away, and we got 2 months to grind it. So I think it's very doable. I think we'll do it.
100%.
But yeah, thanks to everybody that's subscribed, that's been following us, and it's crazy, dude. Like I think about how far we came, and I always tell the story of when our first episode, we shot it in my room. It was just me and my buddy, and we were just tip to tip with just one camera in our face. And to see where we're at now, we have 3 cameras, actual legit lighting, and yeah, it's amazing. And having you guys on here, it's like fuck, it makes me want to keep going harder. So
Onward and upward, bro.
thanks,
Onward
man.
and upward.
Appreciate it. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. 500 subscribers. Let's go. Let's get it.
There you go.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
You.
Ready?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
For y'all, man.
Thank you, dude.
Absolutely.
All right, I gotta go pee now. Oh, you're recording this?
Follow him in.
Let's go.
Oh no.